Hello everyone, my name is Natalie, and today I'm going to be sharing with you another horror story that I found online, and I have been absolutely loving making these videos, and I hope that you guys are enjoying them just as much as me. But the story is called Nobody Believed Me About the Angel in the Woods, and once again, I'm going to leave all my thoughts and opinions to the end of the story because we're here for the story, not to hear me yap. So I also don't want to spoil anything. I was told to write this out in therapy. They said it was good for the process. I thought maybe sharing it would help it feel less like a nightmare and more like a reality. In the woods in South Texas were my home. My home sounded like the finger picking of an acoustic guitar. As an adult, there's part of me that still misses the constant smell and taste of dirt and grass. As a kid, I never noticed it. There was a lot I didn't notice. How much I didn't mind the tiny thorns as I walked barefoot over the roots. As an adult, my steps through nature are much more hesitant, even in shoes. I always knew my way back home as a kid. It felt like the woods knew how to keep me safe. However, I thought that was because of the angel in them. My mother told me that everyone had an angel looking out for them. Angels would be there for our most challenging moments. She was smart enough, though, to tell a 6-year-old like me at the time that I shouldn't rely on them for everything. God gave us common sense for a reason, so we better use it when we can, was one thing she liked to say a lot, especially when we did something stupid. I say we, but during this time I was just an only child. It wasn't until a year later I got a sister. Before I got my sister, I got a dog. Before my dad would leave for work during the summer, he got me a blonde Jack Russell Terrier to keep me company. I named him Charlie. Today I look back and I like to think that Charlie was my angel. I was always happier at the end of summer. The air was getting cooler, the rain would come and make the woods pretty with shiny mud and puddles. My birthday was at the end of August, and my dad would be back for a few weeks. A week before my birthday, Dad would be here. I remember my mother got off the phone that morning, sending me out to play. Go on, get out of the house for the morning. You can come back and play your games when Daddy is here. Daddy's coming back, I asked. That's right, Sally at Motel 6 said he stopped last night. Probably didn't want to wake us up late, she told me. Now go play with Charlie, he'll honk his horn for you like always when he gets here. I dressed myself, tied my shoes, and went off the porch with Charlie into our woods. They were never scary to me. We never had any predators since there was a fence my dad built marking our property line. I have never been in the woods at night though. Today, I made it my mission to try and teach Charlie how to fetch. Getting him to chase the stick was easy. I just didn't know how to get him to bring it back, or even pick it up. It was when the stick I was throwing led to all of this. I wanted to get it to go far. I wanted to see how fast Charlie could go. I wound my whole body to launch it like I was Hercules. The stick whipped through the air and crashed against a tree where it landed and disturbed a sleeping rabbit. That little critter felt only a small fraction of my might and knew to start running. Unfortunately, it now had the interest of my loyal hound. Charlie took off after it, faster than I ever saw him move. "Charlie!" I yelled out before I started to keep up. He was much faster than me. He had twice as many legs. My own two could barely keep me up as I tripped over a tree root, raising my hand and hoping to stop myself, but I was going too fast into another tree. Tree bark hooked my cheeks and tore away small patches of my skin. It stung a lot, but I was too out of breath to register the pain. Then I heard Charlie barking. He rarely barks. I picked myself up and started to run again, hopping on one foot onto the other as my chest burned. I followed the barks until I reached our tree fence. Charlie's barks were over and beyond our territory. I had to cross into enemy lines. The fence wasn't that hard to climb, however, it was hard to climb down. I let myself drop into the sticks and grass where I said my first swear to myself. Shit. It slipped out as I looked at my hands. Charlie's barks reminded me of my mission. I rose to my feet, cautiously looking around. In the distance, I saw a small structure. I made my way over to see Charlie standing by it, just barking. "Charlie!" I yelled at him before running up and hugging him. He looked at me and looked over at the shed he's been barking at, letting out little whimpers. "What is it?" I asked him, but I knew better than to expect him to finally reveal that he was maybe a talking dog. I put him down and just said stay. For the first time, he listened. I slowly approached the door of the shed, pressing my ear against it and listening. It looked new. It was made of metal too. There was a bike lock on it. I could open the door and I was able to do so just enough that I could squeeze through. Before doing so, I looked back at Charlie. "Let me know if you see any bad guys." I poked my head through first. The only light was what creaked through the door. It smelled odd, almost kinda sour, like when Charlie peed on the couch. There wasn't much inside except for her. The light landed on her body and made her look as though her skin was made of marble. Her hair was a fiery gold that draped down the back over her shoulders. She was blindfolded and her hands were bound to a bar that attached the shed by chains. On her back were her wings. They were black and pressed flat against her skin like a drawing. She wasn't wearing anything except a crown made of stick and thorns. She was very pretty though, pretty like my mom, except different parts of her face had dried blood. I couldn't tell if she was sleeping because of the blindfold, so I got closer and pressed my hand to her shoulder. After a few gentle nudges, she started moving around. Her head rose, but swayed off balance as she tried to keep it up. Her mouth opened, but words I didn't understand started to come out with more drops of blood. They almost sounded like words I knew, but they were just wrong. "Miss?" I said softly, looking at her. She was pretty, had wings, and spoke oddly. "Are you an angel?" Her head began to sway up and down very slowly. "Do you need help? My mom said angels help us. She also told me they don't speak to us like how we speak to each other." Her head kept swaying up and down. Her face entered the light. I didn't know angels could bleed. I looked at the chains. "I think my dad has something to cut those. I'm gonna go look. I promise I'll be right back." I raced home with all sorts of questions floating through my head, mostly all about angels. Why don't they wear clothes? Do they eat? Sleep? How do they see with blindfolds? Mom always said that God gave them everything they needed, but it seemed like they needed help this time. Maybe Charlie was an angel sent by God to lead me to her. Once I got over the fence, I just had to run from it, and home would be in sight soon. Even though my home was small, it was easy to spot. It was built on stilts and painted blue. I could tell I was coming from behind as I couldn't see the porch. Charlie kept up with me, but as we got to the steps, he hopped on the chair and waited for me as I went inside. My mom called out my name as I went to the underside of the sink. "What are you doing, sweetie?" she said, the stench of cigarettes entering the room before she did. "I'm looking for chain scissors," I said as if it was a real term. I could feel her confused stare before correcting me. "You mean bolt cutters? What the hell for?" She then got closer and noticed my battle wounds. "Oh, Jesus, hun, your face! Get out from under there and go sit at the table." She grabbed me by the arm and lifted me up. I knew better than to fight back, but I still argued. "But Mama, there's an angel behind the fence," and before I could finish, she cut me off with anger. "Boy, what do you mean behind the fence?" "Charlie was chasing a rabbit and he went back there." "That doesn't mean you do," she said. "If you weren't already scratched up and your daddy wasn't coming back, I'd whoop you." I keep quiet. She got out a first aid kit. I held her cigarette as she put the medicine and bandage on my face. Once she finished, we heard the horn. I hopped off the table and ran out the door. Charlie was barking excitedly behind me. My dad stepped out of the truck, preparing himself for my assault of a hug. I embraced myself into him, taking the scent of smoke, diesel, and dirt. His bare claw of a hand brushed through my hair. "Hey, little man, let me get a look at you." He spoke and sounded like a cowboy. He managed to pry me out of the hug to see my face. His gaze of awe quickly hardened into one of concern. However, he didn't do it for me. His eyes locked in on my mom. "What the hell'd you do to my boy?" he said in a stern but polite tone. "I didn't do anything to your boy but put the bandage on him." "How about you ask him?" Mom said with a bit of attitude. Dad looked back at me. "Sounds like you got a story to tell me," Dad said, taking a seat on the steps of the semi, pulling me up onto his knee. "I was teaching Charlie how to play fetch, and we spooked a rabbit, and then Charlie went chasing it. I had to rescue Charlie, and he went over the fence. I couldn't leave him, so I rescued him, and then we found the angel." "Your son scraped himself going over the fence," my mom interrupted. "I heard that, Marlene. I also heard you say let him tell it." My mom was about to say something again before my dad cut her off. "Don't interrupt my boy again. Now go on and tell me more about the angel." "She needs help, so I came back to get the bolt cutters to rescue her," I said. "That's mighty brave of you." "She's real, Daddy. She had wings on her back, and her hair is like sun," I tried to explain. His eyes widened a bit, probably because I interrupted him, but I wanted to save her. "I believe you, boy." He looked at my mother, who definitely didn't believe me, or was too mad about the fence. "If she's really an angel, she can wait. I'll go save her myself." "Joe," Mom said, but was cut off quickly. "After I spend some time with you all first. I missed you so much." He picked me up and sent me flying. The sensation of being lifted to the house was like a dream. Dad knew all the secrets of turning me into a superhero. He sent me down and told me to get a movie going while he talked to Mom. She then came up to the porch and Dad rushed me inside, closing the door. I could still hear. I didn't like to listen when they were by themselves, nor did I like them without me. They didn't seem as happy when I wasn't in the room. Even at so young, I understood how much I kept them together. I almost forgot about the angel for most of the afternoon. We ended up watching The Last Crusade since I got a DVD set for Indiana Jones last Christmas. We finished the evening with a game of Yahtzee, my mom's favorite. Dad took me to bed and my angel light gave me the reminder, but also an idea. "Dad, you should take Charlie with you." "What?" he said, standing in my doorway as he was about to leave. He knows where the angel is, I explained. I see. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. Get some rest soon. We told each other goodnight and I love you. I had trouble sleeping. I wasn't sure if Dad really believed me until it was late. I couldn't smell my mom's cigarette anymore. That usually meant my mom was asleep. I heard noise in the kitchen and the front door. Even if it was real quiet, this house was too small to hide anything. It must have been Dad going to help the angel. I heard him whistle past my window calling Charlie. I used his brief waning whistle as a lullaby. I wish I could remember the dream. I like to think it was about the angel. My dreams didn't understand that they were supposed to appear in my sleep. My alarm clock that morning was marital troubles expressed through verbal abuse. I don't remember much of what was said. Nothing came clear until I opened the door and the tones got quieter. Just start making some damn pancakes, Dad said. I stepped into the little hall past the living room, into the little dining space. Well, have a seat there, little ma'am. Mom is making pancakes. The room was silent. It was missing something. I looked over at the open door to a quiet screen door. Usually when I'm up, Charlie is right there with his paw on the glass looking in. Mom, where's Charlie? I asked. I couldn't see her, but as soon as I asked, I heard a metal clink of a Zippo. Ask your father, she said softly. I turned my head to him. He looked really tired. I didn't have time to speak, and neither did he. However, he went ahead and lied, and I went ahead believing it. He's with the angel, he began. I went to go save her, and she offered to take Charlie with her back to heaven to get some wings. It took me years to learn his lies to me were also spoken slowly and clearly, as if he was checking his own false facts. You're gonna get a flying dog soon, he said with excitement, and it made me giggle. Okay, was all that I could say with a smile. We ate some breakfast and I learned what soon meant. Soon wasn't the next day, it wasn't the next month, or Christmas. Soon didn't come next year or had any future birthdays. Soon came along 20 years later for me to see Charlie and the angel again. I did go back to the shed a few days later. Maybe she didn't know where I lived. However, it was empty. No proof she was ever there. All I found from that memory was a bike lock used to keep the door closed, tossed aside by a tree. It was open, and the digits were my birthday. So that story is absolutely chilling to me, and I don't know if that would have been an angel. I feel like that was something that could have been dark and scary, or something that this kid should probably not have been around, and it just makes me so sad what happened to Charlie, that the dogs just passed away, and that's like, I love animals, so it just makes me sad when animals pass away. I'm curious to know, what do you guys think that was in the shed? Do you think it was an angel? Do you think it was something demonic? Do you think it was paranormal? So if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye!